Hi there, I'm going to show you some of the techniques I use when I'm using floral overlays in my images. So I'm working on building a background and some extra things in on this image. So if I'm going to do something where I want a very subtle floral in the background, I will choose whatever it is. This is something I've made out of some hydrangea flowers, an overlay. So it's basically transparent in the middle with the flowers around the edge. So I would bring that into my image. Obviously it will come in smaller. So just stick it in the corner, drag your edges down to transform it. Always make sure your edges go a little bit beyond, just so you don't end up accidentally having a little line when you go to print. So just have it extended a little further on like that. So that's obviously too heavy. You can from there just start adjusting opacities, things like that. I know that for me, when I'm doing one like this that I want to kind of fill in my background, I will adjust the opacity of that layer until it looks the way I would want it to look up in here. I probably want it kind of right about there. And I don't want it down here in the bottom, so then I would apply a mask and I would simply remove it. You could do it either way. You could either turn the mask off and then brush it in where you want it, or in this case, because I want a lot of it up there, I'm just going to do it the other way around. And then you can reduce the opacity of your brush and just fade it out where you don't want it. From there, I might duplicate that layer and again fiddle with the opacity. Maybe I want more darker flowers, more darker, over on that side, so I might, I'm just going to delete the mask there. So if I wanted more flowers over on that side, I would perhaps keep it at full opacity, mask it off, and then brush it in where I want it. Use the right mask color. So if I want a little bit extras wherever I would want them, I wouldn't actually do that, but anyway, that is how I would do that part. Now, so that is reducing the opacity of the floral layer itself, and then using your brush at full strength to put it in wherever you want. The other thing I often add is flowers at the bottom along the edges. So this is a wall of clematis flowers that I created. So I bring that in. And what I do with these ones, where with this one I reduced the opacity of the layer and brushed at 100%, with this one I'm actually going to keep the layer at 100%, turn it off with a mask, and then use my brush at 10% to mask the image, to mask the flowers in where I want them. So I usually like to have flowers that are kind of spilling down on my edges here, so with that brush lower, I can now start fading those in where I want them. You can put some back here, making them lighter. Because your brush is at a very low opacity, they'll just as long, the harder you hit, the more you can kind of just spill them out wherever you want them to be. And a little trick with these when you're doing, if you have water on the bottom, because that image goes all the way over them and behind, if you just quickly sweep in the water like this, it makes it look like a reflection. It doesn't have to be the exact match of the flowers. It gives enough of the impression of those flowers being down there to add in reflection like that. So just darken them as much as you want. They'll obviously be lighter in the background here. You can give layer effect to that. You can duplicate this layer and blur those a little bit more in the background because they're farther back, so they would be more blurred, so you can build a lot of depth going that way. So that is the two methods I use. I either reduce the opacity of the floral layer itself before I just bring it to where I want it to be, brush it on at 100%, or I keep those flowers at 100%, turn them off, and brush them in at a low opacity brush to get them the depth that I want. There's your little floral overlay tip of the day.